Please welcome senior writer of Moyers & Company, WGA Award winner and president of Writers Guild of America East, Michael Winship.
I remember the night B.B. King and I jammed with Muddy Waters in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. I'm sorry, that's a lie. My purpose here tonight is basically to wreck the curve of hilarity and to provide a moment or two of maudlin relief. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who made tonight possible. You can see all the names in your program, but I'd especially like to thank awards chair and the producer tonight, John Marshall, and all of the committee members who've worked so hard on this evening. Especially David Stephen Cohen and Bonnie Datt, all of tonight's volunteers, and the Writers Guild East staff, headed by our superb executive director, Lowell Peterson, who I think is right over there. Lowell, stand up, take a bow. Also, Marcia Seaman, Dana Weissman, and Nancy Hathorn. All of them, everybody's just been terrific. And all the folks here at B.B. King's. I also wanted to give a shout out to one of our more stalwart members, George Malco. I'm not sure if George is here tonight. George has been a lifetime member of the Guild. He also received the Jablow Award. He, for more than 30 years, he's a trustee on the board of directors of the Writers Guild Industry Pension and Health Plan. He just has retired from that job, and we thank him so much for all his years of service. Right after the strike a few years ago, the New York Times described me as tweedy, paunchy, and academic. And I told them I didn't mind the tweedy and paunchy, but the academic really stung. So, ironically, I'm giving away tonight awards to two very, very deserving college students. Approximately 1/3 of the Writers Guild East membership works in broadcast news. And it's important that we honor them tonight as we honor journalists everywhere. In just the last few days, we've seen the death of one of our finest foreign correspondents, Anthony Shadid of the New York Times, whose coverage and analysis of the Middle East provided one of the few lucid and informative voices struggling to be heard above the din of bias and misinformation that so distorts what we know about that critical part of the world. But it's not only journalists overseas who take great risks to tell us the truth. Late last month, the group Reporters Without Borders issued their annual Press Freedom Index, an assessment of how countries are living up to principles of media freedom and transparency. The United States fell 27 places to 47, almost as much as Bahrain, which has brutally cracked down on the coverage of government reform movements there, and behind such countries as Niger, Namibia, South Africa, and Romania. The reason for that precipitous drop, quote, the many arrests of journalists covering Occupy Wall Street protests. I assume you're applauding the reporters. Anyway, John Merriman, after whom the Merriman Award is named, was a great newsman and the president of this union. He rose through the ranks of CBS News to become an outstanding editor and producer. He worked with Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite and all the greats of that era of CBS News. He taught journalism at the American University in Washington, D.C. And so after his death at a 1974 plane crash, the annual Merriman Award was established to honor one of the school's outstanding broadcast journalism graduate students every year. So we're pleased to present the Merriman Award to someone dedicating himself to the investigative journalism so vital to society. Already, he has established himself as a first-class reporter in broadcast news at WAMU in Washington, which you may know is one of the finest public radio stations in the country. He has been working for them in local coverage, but he's also been producing for such national programs as All Things Considered, Marketplace, and The Takeaway. So the Writers Guild John Merriman Award goes to David Schultz. It's a plaque and a check, so it's good stuff.
Well, I just wanted to thank my advisor at American University, Jill Olmsted, and my mother and my sister and my girlfriend who are here with the award. Thank you very much.
One of the things I'm proudest of and most grateful for here at the Guild and at our foundation is this next award, which brings together two distinguished families in the entertainment industry. The Writers Guild of America East Foundation's Michael Collyer Memorial Fellowship in Screenwriting, it's a mouthful, we'll start calling it the Collyer or something, is named in honor of the late Michael Collyer, who for 4 decades was one of the city's finest entertainment attorneys, practicing primarily at his namesake firm, K. Collyer & Booth, specializing in TV finance and production. The award is generously funded by the Charles and Lucille King Family Foundation and is awarded to a student who plans to pursue a career in screenwriting upon completing an undergraduate course of study. The recipients receive a $10,000 stipend to write an original screenplay under the mentorship of a prominent screenwriter. Tonight especially, I want to thank the King family. I want to thank Susan Collyer and Gray Coleman, who have been so important to the creation and continued life of this award. And I also want to thank Marshall Brickman, who has so thoughtfully administered the award and has mentored 2 of the writers. This year's fellow from Wayne State University grew up in a small town in Michigan. Remarkably, she has achieved her college and screenwriting accomplishments while also working as a single mother and at a rehabilitation facility for adults with traumatic brain injuries. Of her, Marshall Brickman said, and I quote, of her work, Marshall said, "In a remarkably talented field of applicants, she impressed us with her dialogue and construction, her ability to convey emotion, and her skill in handling challenging subject matter in a believable and compelling manner." This year's Michael Collyer Fellowship goes to Haley O'Brien.
I would like to thank the Collyer family and the King family, the Writers Guild East Foundation. It's a really great opportunity, and I'm really excited for it. Yay!